Welcome to the Corrin Heartseal tier list. We got Corrin's 17 Heartseal talents right here. Cavalier, Knight, Fighter, Mercenary, Outlaw, Samurai, Oni Savage, Spearfighter, Diviner, Monk / Shrine Maiden, Guy Knight, not Pegasus Rider, Archer, Wyvern Rider, Ninja, Apothecary, Dark Mage, and Troubadour. All 17.
Yeah,
Sadly, this tier list did
be...
not have Shrunk / Mind Maiden, so we had to make do with Priestess.
Yeah, this is going to be ranking for specifically Conquest. We are going to go into both genders of Corrin here for their talent, which is going to be pretty interesting because I feel like my answers change a little bit on some of these classes based on what gender you're putting Corrin into.
We will also be mentioning offhand the viability in other routes, but we will be placing them where how they fare in Conquest.
Yeah,
of course, I'm pretty sure we have separate opinions. I've not communicated with Bluegh what my picks are. I mean, I had one earlier as like a beta test, but like I showed it to the Mecha Discord, but those opinions have changed. I'm a different man than I was 5 minutes ago. You think I'm the same person I was a day ago? That's crazy.
Yeah, we'll never know. I actually did this myself yesterday just to give myself like a little idea of where I'm gonna put everyone. So I have a bit of an idea, but I didn't think too hard about it. So I guess we can get started with Cavalier, right?
I think so, yeah.
So I think Cavalier in Conquest especially is kind of bad. And the reason why I think that Cavalier is bad is because of how many Cavaliers you get access to as friendship options. You get Silas, Xander, Sophie, Perry, and they all join, except for Xander, relatively early-ish. In the case
Xander
of Sophie,
does also have a fast support with Corrin.
Yeah,
so.
And Xander does have a fast support with Corrin, so it's not that much of a deficit. So I feel like it's just kind of obsolete, putting Corrin in Cavalier. What do you think?
Okay, I had to find my old tier list to see what my past me thought. I put Cavalier in a decent choice. My tier names are different. Mm-hmm. I think he should be around niche or kind of bad because it does give out really good skills at the beginning, and it does keep your sword rank, which is notable to think about. So if you are reclassing Corrin early, it can help with combat. But then again, weapon ranks are not too bad of an issue unless you're going into a pure lance class, I would say, or a staff class.
Yeah.
I think my hot take is that I think lances kind of blow in Fates. I think swords are kind of better.
See, I think lances are fine in Fates, but not on Cavalier. Because I think
Silas really likes them.
Well, Silas likes them. But I wouldn't say a lot of people else like them. Like Xander usually wants to be using swords, and if he's using lances, it's usually just in Wyvern Lord. And
Perry, Beast Killer.
Perry, okay, well yeah, Beast Killer. Beast Killer is really the only like big lance.
And Blessed Lance also gives him free healing.
Get like a whole lot of use.
Blessed Lance is also free healing that you just get for free.
Yeah, that's true.
Get 10 HP. Nice.
I think the big like boon of Cavalier would be staying in a class that can use the Yato, because both Great Knight and Paladin can use the Yato, so you can keep that sword rank. And usually if you're going into Cavalier, you're going for like damage stacking skills, which are primarily good for Takumi killing, I would say, for Corrin.
I feel like damage stacking is still a viable strat for just in general. If they're like, because I think the only ones that are really good for Takumi killing are like Spendthrift. I think that's the best one for Takumi killing and never comes up otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to think about, what does Corrin's spouse think of Cavalier? In route.
See, I think that most units don't really care much about Cavalier. Like most units that start in it usually want to get out of it already. and not many people want to go into it if they can.
Yeah. How do you feel about it in Birthright? Because it's very exclusive in Birthright, and there's not a lot of like beast killers, Beastbane. Like in the Wolfskin chapter, only Keaton has Beastbane, which is really funny.
I think it's still worse than some other like high movement classes. Like I think Kenshi Knight is just straight up better. Same with Wyvern Lord.
I think it's just good on Silas.
It's
good on Sophie.
It's good on Silas and Sophie, but even then, if I'm playing Birthright, I usually want to get those two characters out of their base class anyways. So.
And you also have more Birthright experience than me. Like, I've played a bit of Birthright. I finished it on Lunatic. I did beat on Lunatic. I didn't just Ryoma cheese the entire game. I Ryoma cheesed the latter half of the game. Well, a little bit. But you're now doing Attack Stance Birthright, training all units, so you know a bit about Cav.
It's pretty rough.
You do give access to shelter, which I think that is massive in Birthright, but that obviously has not come into play for this. And shelter in Birthright is kind of rare. Shelter's massive.
Shelter gives Corrin some really nice utility. Same with I guess Armored Blow would be nice for like increased survivability on like player phase if you want to go for that, but usually if you're in Great Knight you won't be taking that much damage.
I don't think Armored Blow is a very good skill.
It's not.
If it was on enemy phase though, holy shit.
Yeah, generally all you really want for Cavalier is Elbow Room, Shelter, maybe Defender. But
now,
yeah.
Let's move on to less of a toss-up. Let's go into Knight. Let's put this in kind of... I'm going for kind of bad. Because, I mean, the skills are all right, but swapping to a class with only lances, and you could go either into General, or you go into Great Knight. And I think that Great Knight from Cavalier is better than Knight into Great Knight.
Yeah, but... It's kind of in a situation where, like I said, how Cavalier kind of gets obsoleted by Corrin support options, Knight gets obsoleted by Cavalier existing.
It's unfortunate. But I think in Birthright, it is a good talent, because stupidly high defense, Corrin walks forward, is a very good strat in that game. And now you can give him the Javelin, or a souped up throwing club, and he will one-shot things. And... I guess you also get rally strength from like from Lloyd or Llewellyn captures, and that's pretty easy for Orochi to capture. So rally strength is not too hard to get, but you are giving up a deployment slot for that. Corrin walk forward in Birthright, but that does not apply here.
I think the big problem, like, okay, so one thing that Knight does have over, like, say Cavalier, like earlier, is that there aren't actually a lot of units that Corrin can support to actually get Knight. There's Effie, Benny, Ignatius. And usually, a lot of, like, the grand majority of playthroughs don't really train Benny that much, don't ever get Ignatius, which I think is a crime.
I've never played his map yet. That's one of the only maps I've not played in Conquest.
Yeah, so, like...
I've not played his map.
Your only convenient option is Effie, really? And
it is
generally, Corrin has better things to be doing than supporting Effie, and Effie has better things to be doing than supporting Corrin.
Yeah. She likes, like, Arthur, Mozu, Elise. She has better support partners. Corrin usually wants to be working with Silas, or, I guess, Elise, or First Servant. Whoever you really care for. Better options. We also do Niles, male core and Niles to get access to Outlaw. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I don't really have anything. Yeah,
there's not much to say. It's just not that good. I mean, General, I think is a decent class in this game. I think it's the best it's ever been in this game, but that's not saying much. And unfortunately, the three characters, I don't know much about Ignatius. So the two characters do start as General. Effie would love to get out of General, but she can stay in it to be good. But Benny really likes general because you get wary fighter because his speed really sucks. But Corrin's speed is usually good, so wary fighter kind of sucks for him.
Mm-hmm.
So general's not a very good choice. Great Knight's the choice, but at that point do Paladin, unless you really want a damage stack Corrin with defense +2 and natural cover, which are good skills, I will admit. Those are very good skills. But I don't think they're worth going into Knight for.
Yeah, definitely not. So I guess we can move on to fighter now.
Yeah.
So I think fighter's an always good.
Right.
I think aside from gamble, there isn't really a bad skill in the fighter class line. Because HP +5, soul never hurts, Axebreaker never hurts, rally strength is really good, Axe Fair is really good. Like these are skills that usually a grand majority of units would like to have, and Corrin is no exception to that, especially HP +5, I would say.
I also think this should be always good. My solution as to why it was always good, though, is not because of Corrin himself. It would be because his para bonuses become stupid good. Because, as you know, Berserker already has some insane para bonuses, and Corrin's personal skill gives anyone who has a C support with him plus 10 hit, and then -2 damage taken, +2 damage dealt. So that's effectively defense and res +2, strength and magic +2, and hit +10. And then that's all before the class bonuses, which if you have plus magic, minus luck Corrin, that is 1 point of speed, which is funny, but probably you won't be going that if you're going fighter Corrin. But usually, like, most options give strength at C support. If you have a magic bane, which you probably should be having, it always gives a strength support at C. But Corrin's para bonuses just become really good. That's why a lot of people will go fighter in like challenge runs where you can't use Corrin, because you're always deploying Corrin and you have to technically use him, so might as well make him Berserker. So, like, for example, like Lunatic 0% growths, Lunatic negative growths, they're always a Berserker Corrin, so they could have a really good pair up. And I think that is a very useful asset by itself. Also, Corrin has just really good stats, so they're well equipped to be a Berserker, or they could go Hero, where they keep Yato at, they get back their sword rank, which I think Hero is actually kind of a slept-on class. It's a bulky class. These are swords and axes, which is pretty alright.
I think one of the big like boons of fighter is that it also goes hand in hand with mercenary, and the fact that there's both a male and female mercenary. Same with fighter, you can kind of like swap between the two. If you go in hero, you can also get the skills for the other class, and notably getting things like HP +5, strong riposte on like a sword class, and then like you can get like Axe Fair. You can get a crazy damage stack on top of your already insane stats.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how your game calculates what classes you have all times. Like, I know there's a couple examples, like if Keaton friendship with Laszlo goes into hero and he also suddenly gets HP +5. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know that is pretty useful. But I think this is a very decent Heartseal class, and I don't think you'll be wanting, but there are definitely better options, and you do have to start with E-rank axes, which is a little bit rough when you're in a fighter. Like Wyvern Knighter, it's not as bad, but...
And an unfortunate part about going fighter, and I mean this is the same for any fighter, is that eventually you are going to have to get gamble, but it's not that bad on Corrin, because I usually by the time that Corrin is getting gamble, there's a good chance that you already have enough skills on Corrin to where you can just immediately
Well,
unequip it.
Well, if you hard seal immediately, he won't. That'll be his
Okay.
fourth skill.
Yeah, but why would you heart seal before you promote in fighter?
But
Well, I guess
also,
there's some cases.
you think about it in Birthright and Rev, I'd say it's also really good in Rev because no one else gets access to fighter besides Baruka. I think it's before Arthur joins, which I guess Arthur does join like right after Baruka, but I see chapter 14 in that game as the beginning of middle late game. Because that's when you get just 5 units in chapter 14, and it's just silly from there on. You get so many units. Like, chapter 13 is the last time you get a reasonable amount of units. Well, no, chapter 13 you get 5. Never mind. I forgot you get Camilla, Selena, Baruka,
you get a lot.
Keaton, and Caden. And then from there on, it's like 5 and 6 units. But it is early access, and like, there's not many good heart seal options in the beginning of Rev, and apparently you get a lot of heart seals, as you proved. You used 2, and I still had 1.
Well, you still, because the big thing about Rev is that
4.
you also get both shops, so you get like ×2 the heart seals.
You get 4 heart seals before chapter 13. That's actually insane, as opposed to Conquest 2.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And Birthright's 1. Birthright's 1.
Birthright's in a bit of a rough spot, but yeah.
It's so unfortunate because like you do get a heart seal once you get to Sheev, which is nice, but that is also the time you get Ryoma, which is what marks the beginning of mid to late game. So, and also you probably already have the shop, but fighter good. Let's move on to Mercenary. I think Mercenary is also an always good. I think Mercenary is a really slept on class, and access to Bow Knight for Corrin is so good.
Yeah, I think
is an insane class for Corrin.
So Mercenary, I think, is among the better options for Corrin. Honestly, I would personally put it in best choices because it has all the qualities. Like, you know, it goes hand in hand with fighter, like I said before. It also lets Corrin get Bow Knight, which, in my opinion, is probably the best grounded class in the game, I would say, or one of them.
I would say Sorcerer and Master Ninja are a little bit better.
Yeah, it's between Master Ninja or Bow Knight for me. But
Sork is really stupidly good.
Yeah, it gives you Bow Knight, it gives you Hero, which can also get you the fighter skills if you like A+ Arthur or Charlotte or S them.
Well, not even A+. Corrin just has to get to A and does not have to use up any resources.
Oh yeah, true.
They don't have to steal. They just get, because that's part of Zoran's run right now. He's like, I want to get all of Corrin's friendship classes, where you just get to A with someone of Corrin. They don't get the class, but Corrin does, which is kind of mean, but I guess it is. So like Corrin can reclass into like so many different things in Conquest. It's so funny.
Yeah, so like the big thing with Mercenary is that not only does it give you really good class access, but it also, the fact that you get a rally from this class allows you to have a lot of utility. And like much like fighter, instead of going like the super strength pair up with rally strength and all that, you can go with like a really more skillful build, and you can try to like fix a unit's hit rates, or like go for like some funny crit build or something, which I wouldn't really recommend with a Corrin backpack, but
it does get a skill that rallies. It's called rally skill. It rallies your skill, so
it does give your skill +4.
Yeah, I was under the impression that rallies just give +5 for like the longest time, and I figured out, wait, I missed a speed benchmark. Why? And I looked at rally speed +4. I'm like, where's Laszlo when you need him?
I know some game does that. It might be Three Houses. I don't totally
I think it's
remember.
Awakening. I'm pretty sure it's Awakening that has +5.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Rallies in Three Houses, I think, suck. They're only 1 unit, and they don't give any XP at all. And it has to be directly adjacent to you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Pretty pathetic.
But yeah, overall, yeah. I mean, like, Mercenary is good. It's not like
Strongest most, baby.
The one thing that's like holding me back from like saying it's like the best thing to do for Corrin and Conquest is the fact that you can still get it from getting A rank with Laszlo or Selena or S rank with them. Because that was kind of like a big thing when I was like initially thinking about this, is like how easily can you get into this class? And like the earliest that Corrin is able to get into this is after chapter 10 if you use private quarters of use with Selena, which is very, very easy. If you're not doing PQA though, it still doesn't take that long at all, and you should have it by the end of like 16.
I think that in Rev and Birthright is definitely best choices, because like,
yeah, definitely,
you don't have access to it, and also just Bow Knight. Like there's no Bow Knights in Rev until you get Selena. You don't, which I think is actually really messed up. I think you should get Selena, Odin, and Laszlo really early on, because they realize, wait, Corrin has realized Anankos. And they're gonna all be like, all right, this is our true mission. We gotta support Corrin to kill Anankos. This is what our job was.
that would be kind of cool, yeah.
And then you'd be like, oh, what's up with them? And
Really?
then future, and then the DLC actually matters.
Really just missed opportunity there.
God, Rev is such a missed opportunity. But hey, it's all right. You know, the game's it's okay. It's okay. The game's okay. But you know, Mercenary, like in Birthright, this skill is crazy. Like you can. I know one time, I think you married Hana to Corrin so that she could get Hero, right?
I did do this, yes.
And it probably made Hana a lot better.
It made Hana incredible because, all right, so Hana's already like a skillful unit herself, right? So she doesn't really need like the extra like skill or anything from Bow Knight or Hero. But the thing is, getting unit's soul in Birthright is incredibly funny. Especially on a unit like Hana, who also gets natural access to renewal. It just causes for like really funny like unkillable unit circumstances where you have like a renewal vantage soul unit that just doesn't die. It's really cool.
I think renewal and vantage do not work that well together, I'd imagine.
Well, it turns vantage into a sweeping skill.
That turns off.
It's like it goes from a sweeping skill to a safety skill, right? So like vantage will, it's kind of like a failsafe in case you never proc soul or like hit or like keep getting hit, you know.
All right, so Outlaw, I am on my previous tier list. I had this at the top of not best choices, but the one right below it. I feel like it has an argument for going into best choices because movement +1 is that good. Like getting movement +1 as you dip into Outlaw, then going into Bow Knight is crazy.
I'm willing to put it in always good. See, the thing is, Outlaw is a lot more valuable as a talent for Corrin because the only way that Corrin can get it is if they marry Niles or Nina if male Corrin, or you get A+ with Nina for female Corrin. And that's just kind of really...
No, there's Shura.
Well, there is Shura, yeah. But it's really out of the way to get this class.
Really, really good choice. And like a 9-move cavalry unit.
Movement +1 is nice, but I think also Lucky 7 is really good. You get Bow Knight too again.
Also, you get to keep Yato and Bow Knight, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, true.
That is one of my things, like, because like I like keeping Corrin's C sword rank, because like it's not like D or anything that you won't miss. It's a C rank. You'll usually have a C rank by the end of Branch of Fate, or like at least the end of Chapter 7. And just keeping a C rank or even a B rank if you try hard enough, that is good, because then eventually you can try Brave Sword shenanigans or something. You can also use 11 Sword, which is a 1/2 range sword, the 11 might. That is res. If it's magic Corrin, like you go into Bow Knight, And like while you work on like your bow rank, you could also do bow stuff so that you get the shining bow, which is like technically even better than the 11 sword.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go to adventurer and get higher magic, and then just go to town.
Yeah, I would say like the one thing that's like my big gripe is that I don't really think adventurer and well, Bow Knight's good late game, but I don't really think adventure is that great late game.
There's a better staff Yumi class, staff Yumi slash bow class.
Yeah,
We'll talk
so
about that later.
I just think like it's good. I would say it's about as good as Mercenary because it kind of gives like the same thing where you get in a solid class with like solid skills, but at the end of the day, like the big thing you're gonna get out of it is Bow Knight.
Yeah. So in Birthright, this is an easy best choices tier. Because like in Birthright, flight does not matter that much at all. Surprisingly, like who cares really that much about flight in Birthright? It's like the only Fire Emblem game where flight is just kind of okay, as opposed to being broken in every other game.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Samurai, or Myrmidon, as the tier list says here, but it's Samurai. Holy, my god.
Okay, so I think
Good. Yeah.
I think Myrmidon is in Conquest. I will specify only in Conquest. It's best choices.
Yeah, it's one of the best, easily.
Because here's the thing: it gets Corrin a lot of what you really would like for them. It gets you Vantage, which I mean, that's just a broken skill in any game it's in, really. But it also gets you Swordfare. It gets you Life and Death, which are really good skills for like damage stacking with the Yato. On top of that, it gets Corrin access to the only class that has S rank in swords, so you can get the S rank sword bonus. It will make you sword locked, but
Could also do Master of Arms. I think Master of Arms is a slept on class.
Master of Arms is like okay.
I think it's good because like it's bulky and it lacks in no stat besides like maybe magic, and even then, most characters have good magic, can go into that class and still use magic, which is funny. Like it's a class that could really just do anything pretty decently, and it's just bulky. It just has a lot of bulk. I mean, once you get Life and Death, you become significantly less bulky, but I think just having access to Vantage and just still being able to use Corrin's high sword rank, like you can technically make Corrin into a dodge tank in this game.
Yeah.
Using that.
I mean,
Especially,
it's like
skills. This is the only way to play Awakening in Fates, besides if you're playing Ryoma. This, like, you give Corrin some silly skills, like you give her Soul, you give, well, I guess she would already get Astra. Like, you give her, actually, all she needs is Soul and Astra and Dragon Fang, and then she becomes really hard to hit, really hard to kill, and has really good survivability tools in Astra and Soul. And Dragon Fang can kill enemies, which might not be a good thing.
I wouldn't say Dragon Fang, especially with all the damage stacking that you already get from this talent. I wouldn't say Dragon Fang is really that necessary, but Astra is kind of slept on as a proc skill because it does help you with your guard gauge a lot.
Yeah, it can mess up timing though, which can be bad in more specified setups, but it's pretty good. Also, check OBS real quick to see if it still looks good because classes changed from 1 tier to 2.
Oh yeah, I can fix that real quick.
Yeah, how does it look?
I can just... Is that a bit?
But yeah,
well,
I think like access to Vantage lets you do some crazy sweeping builds, and for Corrin specifically, like Soul, it gives her another chance to proc Soul or proc Astra, which will give her guard gauge or health, whatever she needs. Only downside I'd say is that there's no real good 1 to 2 range sword in this game, but if you're female Corrin and marry Xander, he can make full use of everything you possibly need with that talent. He gets access to Samurai. Xander becomes so good. He becomes stupidly good. He still keeps all of his defense from his bases and from Siegfried. Now he gets a stupid ton of speed, and he still has decent strength. And now he has a 1 to 2 range 11 might sword, no downsides. He can get access to Soul via Lasso Friendship, and he'll get Astra. He becomes unkillable. Just as unkillable as Sork Xander with Nosferatu.
It's really cool because the big thing is that like vantage sweeping is so broken in this game that literally any unit in the game can do it, and the fact that Corrin can get Samurai as a talent allows every unit to do it. Which it effectively makes, with enough effort, it can make every unit the best unit in the game.
I will say one thing though, never reclass Corrin in the early game in Conquest to Samurai. I did it once right before chapter 10 and I basically softlocked myself.
Well, you see, Samurai itself is bad, but you know, the promoted is what you want.
Yeah, the promoted classes are really good. Alright, we've talked enough about that. Let's talk about Oni Savage, a real interesting class.
I would put this in niche.
I'm going to tell you some funny stuff. I put this in the second highest tier in my tier list. You want to know why?
Why?
Because, first of all, no one else gets it in Conquest. Like, it is an entirely unique skill because Rinka does not join you for some unspoken reason, which is really dumb. And this class, it does not. It's like it gives you two options. Do you want worse hero or do you want worse malignite? But for Corrin specifically, it allows some funny stuff because blacksmith is actually a really good sword class for Corrin because it has really high strength, I think, and really high skill and stuff. And also you get salvage blow, which is technically a way to make infinite money. If you're willing to play Siegbert's Paralog, you can get a lot of money with Corrin. It is pretty funny.
Yeah, it's a decent skill list for Corrin. And like I would say that some like specific builds are really good with the Oni Savage lines. Like I've done Deathblow Charlotte before, which is incredibly funny. And then also you can do things like Salvage Blow Midori, which is also incredibly funny. But the reason why I think it's a niche is because of how little builds you can actually really like do with it. Because there are a lot of units that I would say actually want to be in these classes. So there's not a lot of units that Corrin is going to want to be giving these to. And there's not a lot of builds that Corrin themselves would be wanting to have with Oni Savage that aside from like
say it's
utility.
Like a decent class for Corrin because like if you're going mad Corrin, you could become an Oni chieftain and it's just stupidly high bulk without a bow weakness now. So now you have to truly not think. Now you can just go in and do stuff. But it does lose you access to like other classes, but I think in niche are always good. If we had a tier in between always good and niche, I think it would be there. I think it's better than Cavalier for sure.
Yeah, I think
like,
top
the
of
exclusivity
niche
is great. However, in Birthright and Rev, you have one character who can give it to Corrin.
Pretty good.
One. Okay, it's just one. Or also Fuga. Never mind. No, never mind. Wait, no, Fuga can't even give it to Corrin.
Oh, he's Master of Arms.
They really, really hated clubs in Hoshido. Like, I don't understand. Like, I think there are only 2 classes in all of Hoshido that can use clubs. Well, outside of, 3 promoted classes. There's Master of Arms, there's Blacksmith, and then there's Oni Chieftain. Nothing else can use clubs.
Really funny.
I feel like the game was really missing like another axe class. They just forgot about it and said, "How about instead we make 3 ninjas and 3 samurai?"
Dread Fighter.
I mean, Dreadfighter. Yeah, Dreadfighter should have been base game. It should have just had no swords. It should have been axes and daggers. Would have been cool.
That would be cool.
Clubs and dag. Yeah, but like for example, blacksmith does not make sense. Like you look at like there should have been a promotion that went into blacksmith and Dreadfighter. That would have been, but I don't know. It would have been like a skillful, fast class as opposed to a bulky, strong. But whatever. Hoshido club hate aside, because they're easily the worst weapon type in the game. Maybe beaten by Yumis, but there are some good Yumis, and there's only 1 or 3 good clubs.
I would also say this falls under niche too, but I do kind of want to say that shove is a really fun skill to use, and the fact that, I mean, like, Corrin is in Conquest is your only like way of getting it, aside from like capturable units, so it's not a bad option if you want shove.
But it's just probably better things to do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Spear Fighter. I'm so sad to say it, but it's kind of bad.
Yeah, like top. It's either bottom niche or top kind of bad, I would say.
I really, really love this class. I have to say, it's mid. Sorry, it's mid.
There just isn't a lot it can do in Conquest, I feel like.
Well, it would be not mid if someone who had Lance rank but prior had access to it. Like, if Obero was in Conquest, I think she'd still be a really good unit.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you look at this, like in Birthright, Lances are not already good. I'd say Spearfighter is only a really good class in Rev because it gets access to everything it possibly ever wants. But in Conquest, sure, you get forgeable javelins, and you get Haitaka, who is like a decent unit, but like, this is a game where you benefit a lot from flight, and a game where there are also just better options. And making Corrin into a class that uses E-rank lances is so incredibly painful.
Yeah, I think the best use of Spearfighter in Conquest is giving it to another unit that is already like well established with lances and can like use them efficiently.
Imagine giving this shit to Effie, dude.
Like, yeah, giving Spearfighter to Effie. Parry, maybe? I've never tried that, but Parry it might be fun. Yeah, just not Corrin. Corrin doesn't really like
specifically, it's horrible because you look at their class skills. They have Seal Speed and Seal Defense. Those are amazing classes. You want to know what skill Corrin gets in Fire Emblem Fates Conquest? A little skill, level 5 promoted, called Draconic Hex, which is a free Enfeeble Staff.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the skills that Spearfighter gives to Corrin just get obsoleted, and that's...
It's for Corrin specifically, it's just not a very good build. The only thing that's going for it is Lancefair, Quitoxic, Swap, and being able to give it to someone else. Because like Corrin themselves is not a good spear fighter. And I'll get into this more whenever we get to Diviner. I'll talk more about Basara, which would be like maybe a minute from now, because Diviner's next, I just realized. But I'll let you talk about Diviner next, because Spearfighter, there's not much to talk about. It's just not good.
So I think Diviner isn't always good.
Okay.
It's kind of like the magic version of Fighter, I would say. It gives incredible pair up. It gives you get Rally. What's it called? Rally Magic, which is really good in Omioji. You get Magic +2, and you get assuming you're plus Magic Corrin Diviner, you get pretty solid stats to fight in, and then on top of that, you get 2 early game Dark Mages, so you can get Malefic Aura on top of Diviner skills, with like Heartseeker and stuff, and it just makes for a really good mage. there are cases for like maybe sorcerer is a little better, but I would say that diviner is still a very, very solid option, especially if you want to play into a more support role, because you get, I mean, rally magic, you get staves too. Again, the insane pair up.
This is where we disagree for the first time.
In
my first tier list, diviner was my third lowest class. I think this class is dog shit, and let me explain why. The only thing I think has really going good for it is it has access to damage stack, and it has access to decent utility and rally magic, and has great pair up. I think this is one of the worst combat classes in the game. It is insanely weak, and it is insanely not good for Corrin. Or if you want more bulk, you go into Basara, and Basara has okay combat. You get lances, not that good, but you also lose Corrin's insane pair-up bonuses. Basara has some of the worst pair-up in the game. It gives you +5 luck and 3 res. That is awful. That completely ruined a save file for me. I did Diviner Corrin once, because I thought, I kind of want my Corrin to have bulk, and I married Ophelia, because stuff, and I paired into Corrin into Ophelia, and I watched Ophelia die a ton. I'm like, what happened? And I looked at her stats, and I'm like, why does she have +5 luck? And let me tell you a fun thing about parallel classes, because if you are not going into Diviner yourself as Corrin, you should never pick this class. You should always pick Dark Mage, because Dark Mage gives Corrin's spouse to, if you're marrying Odin, Nyx, Ophelia, or Leo, it will give them Diviner, while also still letting Corrin be in Dark, because of parallel classes. And that also lets Corrin go into one of his best classes, which is Dark Knight, and without giving up the utility of certain things. So Corrin can still have their good combat, while also giving their spouse the unique class that they really want. Also, if you're really pining for rally magic, which is in the late game, you have two other options. You have Nyx Nina, which has access to rally magic and Onmyoji, and you have access to Azana eventually, which is pretty late, but Nyx Nina is somewhat early, and I feel like is not as much of a waste as it would be for Corrin to have Diviner as their personal class. I am a Diviner hater. I think it's not a good class. I think the only thing that comes out of it is its skills. And even then, I don't think Rend Heaven is that good. I think Watoxic is really good, but that one's so late it does not matter. I think Tome Fair is really good, but that one also comes extremely late, so it's only ever useful for endgame builds. And I think Rat Magic +2 is decent, but not worth it if you're just going for that. Rally Magic is good. That is the one thing it has over other units, but you can also capture, use Nyx Nina or Azana, and man, I just don't like the class. I think it's kind of bad.
See, I think just because it's not a great combat class doesn't really mean that it's a bad class, because I feel like its utility kind of outweighs how good its combat kind of is. Because here's the thing, like, say with rally magic, right? Yes, you do have two other options for that without like capturing, but Corrin is more readily available, and you have rally magic Corrin online for a lot longer of a time than, you know, Nyx Nina or Izana will ever be, which I think has its own value. And also the fact that it just gives utility to like every other unit, like you said that Corrin just wants to be in Dark Mage, but also wants to give Diviner to all these other mages if you want to do a Super Sorcerer. Well, either way, you get the best of both worlds, because if you have Diviner Corrin, you get both Dark Mage from a partner seal, which is a lot less valuable than a heart seal. And then you can use that on Corrin, and then you can use a partner seal on, you know, like, say, Leo or something. And then Leo can just partner seal into Diviner,
I have yet
And
to
then-
reveal my greatest point, however. My greatest point is that Diviner's not the only class that gives Onmyoji. Priestess does too. And I think the Priestess classes is a lot better.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Well,
the
we were
only
gonna.
thing you have, only thing Diviner has over Monk is that you get Mag +2. That's why I think it's in kind of bad. It's just outclassed by Priestess.
The thing is, I think they're like the same, I would say.
No, I would definitely say Priestess is a lot better because it still gives you access to Onmyoji, but you get a way better class than Basara. And also you get Rally Luck. That is +8 luck. I would put Diviner in kind of bad and keep Priestess where it is. I think Priestess is actually a really good talent.
See, I don't know, because...
But like, the only thing Diviner has over Priestess is that they both have two kind of shit skills in Miracle and Future Sight, but it's Rally Luck versus Magic +2. In the
it kind of just depends on what you value more, I guess.
I mean, you could always get 2 points of magic via other things, and I doubt that Magic +2 is the thing that's ruining your thresholds.
It can matter a bit.
I mean, you also have Malefic Aura. You also have Magic Tonics. You get 4 Spirit Dusts.
But every Magic +2 hit saves a tonic.
I know, but that's 150 gold as opposed to Corrin's the most valuable resource in the game, Corrin's Heart Seal. I think this is kind of bad. It is outclassed by Priestess in pretty much every way. And Priestess...
Well, see, I don't think that, not... Because I would say that Mercenary outclasses Fighter in most ways, but they're still both and always good, because despite being similar, they still have, like, their own merits of, like, you know, existing. I would say the same case is for these two.
I would put... If we can split the difference, I would put it in Niche, which I think is more fair for us.
I'm willing to put this at the top of Niche.
If we could put it below Oni Savage, because Oni Savage is entirely unique. Also, Priestess
I don't know if
does...
I like Oni Savage more, is the thing.
The thing is that, like, Priestess gives you everything you could possibly want out of Onmyoji, even though I think it's trash. But Diviner has... You should never go into Diviner for combat, ever. And if you're going into Onmyoji for utility, Priestess brings more to the table because it brings Rally Luck. So you're rallying luck and magic. So you're boosting hit rate and also magic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that Monk is better than Diviner.
Yeah, if you have Diviner, it's essentially you're giving out Diviner to people who would like Dark Mage more, or if you're marrying someone who has Dark Mage as their initial class, they'll just be getting Diviner anyways if you were a Dark Mage.
Okay, so you know what, I will say that the big difference here is that I would say that Corrin doesn't hate Priestess or Great Master as their like ending class. Especially, well, for Conquest specifically, I guess Priestess is way better than Great Master, but that's a whole other debate.
Priestess is kind of fucking crazy. A little bit crazy class. Like, Renewal's so good. Like, yeah, you get access to Renewal. What does Diviner give you?
So, like, the big difference is that, like, Corrin, like, Diviner Corrin gives, and then Priestess Corrin gets. I would say is the big difference.
What do you mean by that? I mean, you could still give out Monk to other people, and they could still become Onmyoji and
Well, see, usually units would... I would say, like, okay, let's take Leo again for an example. I would say that he would like Diviner way more than Monk, at least if he's gonna go in, like, Onmyoji for a bit to get, like, Mage +2 and stuff. Because I feel like it just helps him out a lot more in the end. Because usually you're not trying to make Leo a utility unit, you're trying to make him a combat unit. And Diviner lets that
combat unit. It is 2 points of magic. And then magic is like the one stat in Conquest that you can get in spades. You can get 4 Spirit Dusts, I think, before even buying any. I think you get technically 5 in this game if you buy one. And you also have access to meals, tonics, And, well, if you are going for Onmyoji for combat, you're not getting Rally Magicked because you don't have another one. Or if you were building another one, they don't need to go into really Onmyoji to get Rally Magic. But I think that Diviner is just entirely outclassed by Priestess, because the only thing it has over it is Magic +2, while Priestess gives you still Onmyoji, but also gives you Rally Luck and access to a class that has really good prospects with the Shining Bow and Renewal.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely. I think the big difference between the two is like which skill are you gonna value more in the game, and
yeah, it's just Renewal and Rally Luck over Rend Heaven and I guess Quatoxic at level 15.
Quixotic is really good, but
it is really good, but that is so late game.
Problem with like Tome Fair and Quixotic is that they're level 15, so they're usually like you're not seeing them until like 23-ish, which I mean that's still plenty of time to like cook, but you know it's not a whole lot. You're gonna be like spending a lot of the game still just not in these classes.
Personally, I would like Diviner a little bit lower because I had it really low because I just think Monk talent.
I'm okay. I'm not willing to put it better or worse than Cavalier, but I can.
That's fair. We can have more classes eventually. Now here's another heated debate. I'll let you talk about Pegasus Rider first.
Okay.
Or Sky Knight.
So
you already know my opinions on this class.
I think Pegasus Rider. I think it's in kind of bad, honestly, because here's the thing. The big thing that you get out of Pegasus Rider is rally speed. Okay, so let's say you're trying to do a rally unit. You want rally speed, rally skill, strength, defense, whatever. There are other candidates that can also do this, and I would say that Corrin has better things to be doing than being a rally bot. Corrin usually will never need what's the fast skill?
Darting Blow.
Darting Blow? Yeah. Corrin usually won't ever need that. Especially if you decide to do like plus speed Corrin. The best skill the best class to go in between these two is Kenshi Knight. And there's a better class that gives you Kenshi Knight that we're gonna get into later. So it's just like it much like Knight getting obsoleted by like Cavalier mostly for the most part, I would say Pegasus Rider just kind of gets obsoleted by Archer. And it doesn't really give Corrin anything that they want ever.
Now, let me talk about something you forgot to mention. It is stupidly easy to get Pegasus Rider in this game. Like
that
surprisingly.
too.
Like Azura gives it out. Salina can give it out. Like Salina could give it out to Laszlo, who really wanted he's the one who wants him and Shigure really want rally speed, and they can already get it really easily without Corrin at all.
Yeah, literally. Okay, like Shigure starts in it. Like he can just get rally speed.
He can just get rally speed and immediately reclass into Wyvern or something else, or fighter, or whatever his father gives him. He can do it. But the fun thing is that Sky Knight has awful combat. Awful combat. It is terrible. You get E-rank lances with Corrin. That is bad. Falco Knight, all you have is lances, and you get E-rank and staves. That is trash. That is so bad. I don't care if it flies. I don't care. I think it sucks. I think all of the other flying classes are better. Every single one. I think Kenshi is good, but another class gives Kenshi, and it does Kenshi way better, and also another character gives out that class. We will talk about that class. Now, this is the perfect spot for it. I think it deserves to be kind of bad. Let's talk about Archer.
All right. Do you want to go first on this?
Sure. Mozu gives access to Archer in this game, which means that Nyx, Effie, and Mozu's spouse get access to archer, and arguably her child if her child is male. If her child is male, they get access to archer. If her child is female, they get access to villager, which does give them some other utility. We'll talk about that later. Well, not for this tier list. We can talk about that another time. But archer is a very good combat class, I will say, and it does not give out very good utility. How I usually put it, I put it below Oni Savage, but I think right now I'm thinking always good or niche is the only 2 tiers it could be in, because access to certain blow, quick draw, and eventually Amaterasu as a Kinshi are crazy, and bows are really good in Conquest. And giving access to another Kinshi Knight is not a bad idea, although I think there are better options for a Heart Seal. I do not think I would be disappointed if I was forced to go Corrin with the Archer, because I could still make plans around that.
Yeah, so I think Archer is among the better classes in the game. I don't think it's the best class in the game, but it is insanely good. It has a lot of good things that it has going for it. But I would say that it's one problem with Corrin is that Corrin isn't really wanting to use it that much. At least the way I use Corrin.
They have better bow classes to go into.
Yeah, I would say that Corrin has like better things to be doing than going into Archer, because other units can go into Archer and do just as good of a job, if not even better of a job.
If you're female Corrin, Mozu does give you access to Archer already, which is actually pretty funny.
That too, and you get Mozu extremely early in this game.
Yep. Mozu's a good unit too. That's my hot take. I think Mozu's a really good unit.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really good. I would like put her like around.
I would put
here.
her below Priestess, but that is around where I had it. I had Archer above Oni Savage. I mean, I had Archer below Oni Savage. No, I had Archer in front of Fighter, but below Oni Savage, which is funny because that's swapped now.
Yeah, so like, I would say the big thing is like for just in general, the big thing is Corrin isn't like usually your best candidate for an Archer, and if you want Corrin to go in Archer, there's usually another option other than a Heart Seal. Especially the case in Revelation and Birthright, where you get multiple archers. And
and you get all the archers really early in Revelation. It's crazy. Well, except for Setsuna. But you get Mozu, you get Taku, and you don't get any outlaws. Really upsetting.
But yeah, I mean, like overall, it's just like a solid choice. Like it's never bad.
And here we are. Here it's happened. Here's one of the next best choices, Wyvern Rider. This class is stupid good, and it is usually people's first choice for Corrin's Heart Seal. It is the best one recommended to new players, and it gives you access to 2 stupidly good classes. The only downside for Corrin is that you lose your sword rank, but that does not matter when you get to be in a class that good. Also, I guess the availability is kind of really easy for female Corrin exactly, but male Corrin you have to wait until Percy to get an A support with him, which is kind of hard. As you can see in Zoran's Train Everyone run, that is one of the things he prioritizes, even though it is kind of hard to get to.
Yeah,
and he wanted Wyvern Corrin. Wyvern Corrin is stupid good.
The big thing with Wyvern Rider is, I would say, this is probably the biggest case of it depends on what gender your Corrin is. Because if you are doing female Corrin, I actually don't recommend doing Wyvern Rider because of how early you get Baruka, how early you get Camilla. And
Camilla's a fast support.
And Camilla's a fast support, so it's really, really easy to actually get Wyvern on Corrin, and you can just use your Heart Seal class as a different option. And I would say that that's a lot better. But for male Corrin, if you want to be putting him in Wyvern Rider, I would say that this is your best course of action. And usually he never dislikes being in Wyvern Rider. So
even if you're a magic boon, you can go Malignite, and flying magic class is crazy good. As you can see with Dark Flyer, that's why it's a DLC class, because it's the game's devs knew it would be really stupidly strong. And some classes in this game would be DLC if they were not like important. Like for example, Wyvern Lord would probably be DLC for how good it is, but it is a mainstay in the game, so it has to stay there. But yeah, this is a very easy option, no thought. In Conquest, you get a dual club, and that makes soloing Ryoma in Chapter 25 stupidly easy. You just walk up to him and slap him in the face, and you just hit him twice, and he dies. And in this game, Wyverns are so good because you have Malignite is really funny because it gets access to both of the dual weapons in the entire Conquest game. You get a Calamity Gate and Ophelia Paralog, and you get a dual club in Chapter 10, which you can use both of. Also, actually, Oni Chieftain can use both of, so that's a pretty decent argument for it. But Malignite is a better class than Oni Chieftain. Only downside is that it gets purdy by arrows, but oh no. Oh man, I could fly everywhere and do everything I literally ever wanted, and I could do a Vantage build with this. Oh my god, and it's like the best Corrin build in the game. But it's really good because it also gives Corrin's spouse access to Wyvern, which is really nice because only female characters in this game, besides Percy, are Wyverns. So you usually have to marry for it, or if you're a female who is lucky enough to get a friendship with someone, it is great because otherwise, if you want Wyvern from a male, your name's got to be Perry and marry Xander because he gives her Wyvern. That is it.
Yeah, it's a little hard for some units to get into Wyvern, and in a game where most units do like being in Wyvern, it's a really solid option for Corrin to have it as a talent just because like even if you're doing female Corrin, despite what I said earlier of me like
people like to give it to Jacob, yeah,
you know, I would still say that female Corrin isn't a bad option for Wyvern Rider talent because of the fact of how little males actually get access to it, and you know, it never hurts.
Also, like some people like to use Jacob. They like to reclass him into Cavalier or Great Knight to get skills, and then reclass into Malignite to get early trample. They do that via Corrin marriage. I think that's not very good because that is using up 2 extremely valuable resources in the early game for a unit that will fall off halfway through the game, no matter what you do. But it is an option. Wyvern Rider is just easiest brain dead, easy choice you can make.
Yeah, if you're doing a first playthrough and your goal is to beat the game, I would say Wyvern Rider is your best bet.
It's really easy. Speaking of another brain dead easy choice, hello Ninja.
Hi. So yeah, Ninja's real funny. I would say this also kind of depends on the gender of Corrin, but not as much of an extent as Wyvern Rider.
You only get one way to access it.
The nice thing about male Corrin is that you can build C support with Kaze before the Branch of Fate. So by the time you get him recruited, you already have the C support and you can immediately start working on the B support. So it doesn't actually take that long to get A with Kaze and just get Ninja that way.
The only ways to get Ninja in this game are Kaze marriage and friendship, and Selena marrying Laszlo, and also Soleil.
Yeah. So.
And Midori.
Well, and Kaze A plus with Kaze. All of his friendship options. That. Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, which is just Silas and Xander, I think, right?
Yes.
I think I'm pretty sure Super Xander. So. Yeah.
So yeah, Ninja is one of the more brain dead classes in the game. I personally think it's the most brain dead class in the game. If you want to just like walk through maps with no thought and like no strategy at all, it is stupid easy to do that with ninja. Sure, you can do it with like super sorcerers too, but the nice part about ninja is that they can do it with a lot less investment.
They just need soul, and then they just become so good. And Corrin usually gets very bulky because his stats are so good, and you're using him throughout the entire game anyways. So
yeah, and like
this and Wyvern, I'd say, are the two easiest options. Like especially if you're plus strength Corrin. Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually have a I never uploaded this to anywhere, but I have a video recording of me full clearing chapter 24 with nothing but ninja Corrin.
Not even a pair up?
Not even a pair up, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, cause soul.
Lamau.
It's stupid so easy. Good. Like it's crazy dumb how trivial ninja makes some maps, and like I would say that ninja isn't as good without things like the beast killer, but that's exactly the thing. You have, the beast killer, not the beast killer, what am I saying, the hunter's knife.
Yeah.
And
also,
it's just like,
in fact,
it's really good.
You get to keep Corrin's sword rank,
and you get to keep the sword rank.
Yippee.
And a really funny use for ninja is poison strike. I think poison strike is a little undervalued because
I think it's so undervalued. It is such an extremely valuable source of chip.
It's so nice because, like, all right, take Ryoma, right, in chapter 25. If your Corrin isn't that strong and like you're only doing like maybe 1-2 damage to Ryoma per turn, he's just gonna heal that back up. But the floor tiles don't heal more than Poison Strike deals. So every combat, you're still dealing damage to Ryoma, and eventually you will whittle him down enough to where you can kill him with Corrin.
You also have weapon triangle advantage. So
that too, yeah.
You usually survive him anyways.
It's incredibly broken. I don't...
If you go ninja, you're not going to have any complaints at all. Speaking of, well, I guess not speaking of, here is another class that I think is very good, but not in best choices at all. Apothecary Corrin, baby.
I would put him in always good.
Yeah, same. I think he's actually better than Archer Corrin.
Honestly, I'm inclined
because no one else gets it. No one else gets it. It's very unique.
The thing, okay, Apothecary is really cool. Because
it's a really cool class. I really wish more people were at it.
It gets you Mechanist, which for male Corrin especially is really cool because you can get A with Kaze and then you can get Poison Strike all over again, and it's that whole deal. But also you get things like Potent Potion, Quick Salve, Profiteer, Spendthrift. Like, these are all insane skills that just enable Corrin to
without Midori. Midori is the only way. Midori is the only way in this game. Or if you capture the chapter 12 apothecaries, I think there's no other way to really get Apothecary, because Apothecary is so rare to find in game. And Midori is the only easy way to get all these classes, and even then, easy is in quotes, because you get Kaze in chapter 12, and you gotta marry him, and then you gotta build up support with Midori with whoever you want. Usually that is a child unit or Corrin. But I thought, if you asked me before the Revelation Relay, if I thought Apothecary Corrin would be good, I would say, you're deranged, you're a lunatic. Now I'm like, oh my god, he already has C rank in bows, and it's Moser
crazy good.
And he's like, especially with Speed Boon Corrin, because like that was one of its two weaknesses. Apothecaries are slow and they have bad resistance, while they have stupidly high strength and defense, which I think is a very fun gimmick for a class. And of course, if you go Apothecary Corrin, if you run into a mage, there is no hope.
Well, that's just Corrin in general, usually.
Corrin does not have good res, but now they have really bad res. Also, you can give out Apothecary to someone. That does not matter as much as like Apothecary Corrin is actually just a really good unit. Like, have you seen Jarvis's run with no promotion, no tonics, no mess hall, no statues? They have Apothecary female Corrin with the Baruka Ignatius marriage, and it's just the enemies ignore her. That's the thing. And I think in game she gets like a 40 defense before promotion, which is silly.
Yeah, and it's like
if you want a high defense class, do not go Knight. Go Apothecary. It's so much better.
And it's even further enabled by Potent Potion, because that gives you an extra effect on tonics too. So you're already pretty good defense and pretty good strength are boosted even further.
Yeah, Potent Potion wasn't even that useful for them because they couldn't use tonics.
That's true.
So like it's even better. Yeah, +3 defense. That's crazy. But like Apothecary, I think is actually just a really, really good class. And also, bows are a lot better than lances. Even then, you also get lances in Merchant, which is just better, which is just the advanced form of Apothecary. Or you go Mechanist, which I think Mechanist is a pretty alright class. It's just not as good as Master Ninja. And I'm not going to speak of why I put Kaze into Mechanist.
Okay, well, you just...
But I realized I did that, and then I argued as to why Mechanist is worse than Master Ninja in the Mecha Discord, and then you showed up, and I was like, well, this is awkward.
Yeah.
It's just... So now you're like, so why did he do it?
So... I mean, I think Mechanist is still a good class. I think it is a little undervalued, but I think the big thing out of Apothecary is Merchant.
So just get more money.
Yeah, true.
Money.
So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it.
That's our hot take that we both agree on. Now let's talk about the cold take that everyone agrees on. Dark Mage Corrin is stupidly broken.
Yeah.
All 3 routes, it's super good. Oh yeah, we've not been mentioning all 3 routes. Apothecary Corrin, still good in Birthright and Rev because no one's Apothecary base.
Like, basically no one, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally no one besides Yukimura, and he's not in Rev.
But,
it's literally, and also Anna has it as a Heart Seal reclass, but then a ton of people have it as a Heart Seal reclass. There really should have been just a base. I feel like Midori should have been a first generation unit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
She makes more sense as a first gen, but you look at Priestess. If you talk about Diviner or Priestess in Birthright, I'd say Dark Mage is way better. If you're gonna want to go Magic.
The thing with Dark Mage is I'm. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it has the highest magic growth. Out of all the classes.
Sorcerer has the highest magic growth in the game because Elise can get to a fat 90% magic growth in Sorcerer.
Yeah, it's really good. So like if you're going for like raw offensive stats, then Dark Mage is just a really, really solid option, especially since Conquest magic is really good. A lot of enemies have a lot of like really Calamity low Gate res.
Force Spirit,
especially with the Calamity
Gate. Lightning. You get everything you possibly ever want with magic.
And there's a lot of things that Dark Mage can do. If you want to be like a bulky Nas tank, you can do that. If you want to be a Vantage Sweeper, you can do that. If you want to just be like some filler combat unit that just does good damage, you can do that.
It just Okos things, and then you use it for dual strikes.
Even if you want to be a pair-up bot, Dark Mage is like one of the best options for that.
Yeah, Dark Knight is such a crazy pair up. It's like +3 magic, +3 defense.
Yeah, and move too. It's really good. Like Dark Mage gets a lot of good things, and even for Corrin, if you want to go Dark Knight, you still get sword access, so you can go like plus magic.
Sword. You get to use the Levin sword.
Yeah, and Levin sword.
And Levin sword is a stupidly good item. It cannot crit. It cannot mess up anything up, and also it's extremely consistent. 11 might sword. It's just Siegfried but magic.
It's
so
really good.
And the only downside I'd say is that access to Dark Mage is actually pretty easy in this game because there are 3 Dark Mages, But for Elise specifically, I'd say this helps her out so that she's not always marrying Odin. If you want to marry Elise, that could give her Dark Mage. Because Dark Mage is Elise's best class, but she can only get it from Odin because she does not friendship Nyx and she cannot marry Leo. Because the siblings do not have friendship, do not have A+ supports for some reason, which is stupid. They really should. Like, if Elise could get, like, a Dark Mage through Leo, that'd be really cool. But,
yeah.
whatever.
The big thing with... I would say that Dark Mage as a talent is almost strictly because Corrin wants the Heart Seal into it. I mean, because like a lot of units that want to be in Dark Mage are either already there or can get it through other means.
You can also give it out pretty easily. Just be a fourth way of giving out a Dark Mage. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's such a good class in this game. It's so good. I think these are easily the four... These are just the four best choices for Corrin's Heart Seal.
Yeah. Like, if you want to make the game as easy as possible, you go with these four. And in fact, I would say that I would shuffle these around a little bit. Probably like something like that.
Maybe. I mean, Corrin does get access to Leo, fast support, friendship, and also, like, you could also friendship Nyx or Odin, so Dark Mage is kind of really easy to get, but it's so good. Yeah. Ninja is kind of hard to get. Wyvern Rider is really easy, but I would maybe call Myrmidon better. I don't know. Well, I think that's fine for right now.
Yeah.
Let us talk about the worst talent in the game.
All right. So, literally, why?
Why would you do this?
Okay.
Like, the class is good, but like,
here's the problem, right?
Corrin does not need a Heart Seal for this.
In Chapter 7, you get Elise, who's a Troubadour, and you get your servant, who's a Troubadour. You get fast support with both of them, so you already have a fast support with literally like the first two units you get in the game.
If you really want to get it without like marriage, worst case is you are a male Corrin who has to wait for Jacob. In any case, you can just marry Elise or Felicia, which is really fast and easy. But even then, why would you marry to get into Troubadour? It's not the best class for Corrin, because these are both support classes, or if you want to use the Flame Shuriken in a funny way.
And, like, okay, so the interesting thing, too, is that even if you don't want to, like, say you're male Corrin, and you have to wait, that's fine. You still have other options, right? You still get Jacob. You have Forrest, you have Dwyer, like, there's 5 units already that start in Troubadour. You're fine.
No, I can't get into the staff lock class as fast as I want. Oh, man.
Like, when you're reclassing, unless you're doing a meme, you're not reclassing into unpromoted Troubadour, right? You're gonna want to reclass after you've already promoted, and by that point, you probably have Jacob. So it's like, there's no problem. There really is no issue.
If you really, really want the movement, go Cavalier or Wyvern Rider or even Sky Knight. This is such a terrible Heart Seal option for Corrin because he or she is surrounded by people who give her this class. Even if you want it, it's not good on Corrin. There are 3 other characters who can use this class better and for free. And if Corrin really wants it, they can just get them by a Heart Seal, by a Friendship Seal or Partner Seal. You do not need to waste one of the most valuable resources in the game, the early game Heart Seals, to get into a class that is not good for Corrin.
Yeah,
Birthright and Birthright, it's the same thing. Like, you still get Servant 1. And, I mean, I guess you could marry them. It's a little bit harder. But in Conquest specifically, there is 0 reason to do this unless, I guess, you want to give your spouse Troubadour for some reason. Which, I mean, like, does Troubadour even have a parallel class? It has Shrine Maiden, right? I mean, the parallel class is Shrine Maiden. Oh, wow, you can make Felicia or Jacob into a priestess or great master, respectively. Go monk. Go Shrine Maiden. It's a better option. You don't need to waste Corrin's talent. It's the most valuable resource in the game.
Yeah, there really is just like,
at least the kind of bad tier has somewhat arguments. Also, I just realized the 4 classes above this all use lances. This is telling. Lances suck. This is more evidence to my theory of, yeah, lance bad.
So yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything positive to say about Troubadour. I guess, okay, there's one thing. One extremely niche case where I think Troubadour is better. If anyone... Okay, so... that...
extremely niche thing.
The run I did in Rev, like a year ago now, where I only used the retainers and banned Corrin. But I had a rule where force deployed units were able to do things like heal and stuff. Troubadour Corrin would be pretty good under that rule set, but you know, like
you just never did anything with him.
It just never. No, he was a parabot.
He was just a parabot for Reyna. I'm just like, hey, Reyna can't slam anyone else. Might as well let her slam Corrin.
Might as well get the paralog.
Yeah, man, might as well get Kana. Look, nothing. That playthrough is just like, here, I'm using terrible units. Here's another map of me using terrible units. Oh, hey, finally, I got a good one. Here's Baruka, guys. Here's another good one, Selena. I will not use her until chapter 24.
I just needed to flex, you know?
Oh my god. But, yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, so... Closing thoughts, I'd say I'm decently happy with this list.
I would lower Diviner more, personally.
I would raise it more.
I would put it below Cavalier.
But, yeah, other than Diviner, I would say I'm content with where all these are.
Yeah.
Maybe I would put Dark Mage. I don't know. It wouldn't change its spot. It's fine.
It's still really good.
So yeah. I believe this will be going on your channel, so thanks for having me on.
We can make it happen. If it somehow by some miracle ends up on Bluegh's channel, we had a third technical issue today. My first technical issue is that Discord changed my output so that I could not hear Bluegh speak. And then my second issue is that I cannot stream for some reason. Discord is not having a good time. So he is streaming this right now instead of me. Which means I did not have to make an OBS outlet. OBS.
Yes, overlay, I control the mouse, so I put Wyvern Rider in Wyvern.
I was not able to put Diviner in Kinda Bad. I was betrayed. I did not have to make an OBS overlay, but he got to put Diviner in Niche.
I wanted to abuse my power so hard by putting Diviner right here, but it's
trash. It's so bad.
But yeah, end of the day, Stoneborn is the best class in the game.
So true. Imagine if you could have Stoneborn units. Holy shit. Imagine they could pair up on flyers. Oh my god, dude.
That would be pretty fun.
I've also never used Ballistician, so I don't know. Maybe Ballistician is the best class in the game. Who knows? These are just Corrin's Heartseal options. There, as you can see, if he would scroll down right now, there are so many more classes in this game. But these are only the first tier and the 17 which Corrin can Heartseal into. There are technically more classes like Villager and Noble. Well, I guess it's not even Noble, it's Nor Princess. That's stupid. Yeah, they did it wrong. They put Noble. Those classes would be so good. Soldier. Why is Soldier here, dude?
Don't worry about it.
I don't know why Soldier is here.
Soldier's a very funny class. But yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and
well, if we do end up doing another video, you will see me and Bluegh's video. Pa 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 pa. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.